Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We are going to be looking at Firebase storage. So if you have been using Firebase for a while, you will notice that Firebase, like recently, they included Firebase storage as part of their base plan. Okay, so before you can use Firebase storage, you need to enable your payment plan, like you need to upgrade to base plan. It's no more something you can use as a free trial anymore. You need to upgrade before you can use it. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how we can optimize that in terms of not consuming a lot of space. Let's say you are building an app that allows users to upload videos to Firebase storage or images. Most times we fail to delete those images, right, from the Firebase storage, from the database. What we just do most times is just to like maybe clear the variables that is holding the image part or the file part after the user have uploaded it, and which is not really a good practice, because that way you are like consuming spaces in your Firebase storage, and that is going to cost you a lot of money as time goes on or when your project increases. So what I want to show you guys now is how you can upload files to database, and when the user no more needs it, like the user wants to delete that image, instead of you deleting it from your variable or from memory, you also need to delete that file from the data store as long as you have from Firebase storage, as long as you've already uploaded it there. Okay, so what I want to do now, I won't be typing a lot of code because I've already created the whole structure, the files and everything. I will just be walking you guys through it. Okay, but before you get started with it, I want to believe you have used Firebase before. You are currently using it in your project. You know how to initialize Firebase in your project. You also know how to set up every other thing. And if you go to your storage, let's assume that you're creating your storage for the first time. They are going to ask you to upgrade, right? So you need to create your payments, your billing method through Google Cloud, right? And then link it to your Firebase project. Once you've done that, that's only when you can have access to the storage. You can now enable it, right, before you can use it. So once you enable it, in your own case, you might just see an empty storage like this. This one is not empty. I already have an existing file already. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a new one. You're not going to create it from the console. You're going to be creating it in your own code. All right. So this is an existing project. That's why you can see a lot of files here. I'm currently working on an app for a client. So here now, what we have here is just a simple UI. You can see I have the icon to upload pick image from the device gallery using image picker. And then we have a button to submit. So basically this button is just like to save them to data store and all these strings. Okay. So what we are going to accomplish today is pick image from file. Once we pick it, we are going to upload it to Firebase storage. All right. Then we extract the download URL, which is what we are going to be saving to any other database like Firebase database, like Firestore database and all that, right? So as you can see here, we have the simple UI, and here I have the upload example. This is just because if you have upgraded to Firebase database and all that, you should be able to understand what I'm trying to do here. So this is just a header widget. It's just a custom widget that I created, right? So there's nothing much going on here. So you can just use a test widget depending on how your app is structured, your UI and all that. So you must not follow my own style. So here I created a single child school view because I want users to be able to add multiple images. In your own case, users might only be allowed to add one image. For instance, if they want to set up their profile picture, okay? And then secondly, I have this button, right? You can see the row and you can see the button here with the I just have some few things here, screen size, and then I have images.length, which is the images that the users are going to add. Currently is empty because users have not added any image. And I have an idle state. If you have watched my previous videos, you will understand why I use view state. It's basically to track when the state is loading, when it's idle, when there's an error, when it's busy, and every other state that I want to track, right? So I have my busy overlay. Busy overlay is just there to show me the loading indicator, right? You're going to see that once I upload image to the database. And here you can see I just have a show message. So this is me using awesome snack bar content just to show my message. You can see how I moved everything to a separate file entirely. So don't get carried away with that because your own project might be different from my own, right? So here you can see I have the show image source model. This happens when we click on the image picker. It brings up this model where I can select camera or gallery. Okay. So I also want to believe that you have been able to set up your image picker, your file picker, and all that. Okay, because this is not what I'm going to show you guys in this tutorial. This is just for Firebase storage, how to delete and also how to add save files to database, yeah, to Firebase storage. So here you can see this image source. I'm just giving guys a walkthrough so that you won't be confused. This image source is just here to, I have the image source, which is coming from the image picker platform interface. Image, I use their enum, which supports camera and gallery. So from here, I just mapped it like using list.generate, the length and all that. You can see the list style. I was able to get the structure, camera, and let me increase my font a little. Okay, I was able to get camera and gallery. So whenever I click on each of these list style, I return on result. I just call this on result callback, and then I pass the data, which is the image source, back to the color of the show image source model. So let's go back. Here you can see once I do that, I'm getting the value on this result, and I'm now calling result await pick image. Okay, so from here we are picking the image and then I'll just pass in the source. So based on the source, if it's camera, it's going to open up camera. If it's gallery, it's going to open up gallery for us. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I'll just cancel that. And once everything is done, it will return the path for us. So going forward, I'm checking if it's not null. If it's not null, that means user picked something. Then the first thing I want to do is to set the loading state here to busy. All right, so what this means is going to set this loading state to busy, and you will automatically see the busy overlay, right? Because that's the only check I'm doing here. So I'll now upload the image to server. So what I'm doing, I'm not waiting for users to pick all the images before uploading. What I'm doing, I'm only uploading the image immediately the user picked it, I'm uploading it, right? In your own case, you might use loop to loop through all the images and then upload them. You can just call this method to upload them. So, but before I go into this method, I just want to explain every other thing. So results, upload results, I'm calling upload document to server, which is, then I will now send the result, which is the image part that I picked from the image picker. Okay. Then I will show some loading state and all that. If there's any error coming from the upload image result, because it's going to return from this upload doc result model, I'm going to show an error to the user. Okay. And then if there is no error, what I'm doing is to add, I will check first if the image is this one that I created here, this variable, right? If the images does not contain, that's why I use this operator. If it does not contain the file URL that I got from data store, right? If it does not contain it, what is happening here is I'm going to add it to the list and automatically it's going to display. And we also have this show message to just show image save. All right. So before I demonstrate how it works, let me go back to the image upload document to server. So I know this is a lot. Just focus on the most important thing. Here you can see I created an initial upload task, right? And here I created a string doc part. This is more like the parts of the image picked file. You can use PDF document. It can be MP3, MP4, right? Whatsoever doc part. You just have to pass it there as a parameter. Then what I'm doing here, I'm splitting it and getting the name of the doc part. Okay, just the name. I don't want to get the full part. This is more like the doc name or the file name or whatever. So here I'm just printing uploading document to server. And here you can see the reason why this is long is because I'm using try and catch. So let's break it down. This is how I handle exceptions. Okay, just use your try block, then you run what you want to run. And then on Firebase exception, I'm returning F error uploading image. That means Firebase error uploading image. So we'll now show you that the respective image because I'm already handling that. If you come here, I'm already handling it. If there's any error, we show message that there's error failure, right? And then stop the execution. Then if there's a timeout exception, that means it took too long to upload. I'm going to show a connection timeout error. Or if there's an unknown error, I'm going to handle it here. You can see this my upload doc result model. They just taking a state and a file URL that I'm submitting. So your own can be anything. You can create a string that is passing the file back to user whatsoever. Okay, but it's to be better if you can copy my own and then use it. All right. So if you want this GitHub repository for this, let me know in the comment box. I'm going to provide it and update the description of the video. Okay. So what I'm doing here, firstly, I created an upload task, right? And I split the document to get the last name. And then I created a reference, Firebase storage.instance.ref. Then I created a child, example storage. And that child is going to appear here, right? This is another child that I created initially, so ignore that one. But once I upload a new document, it's going to have this child, right? Example storage. Then we have the child again, which is the inner child that needs to be. This is more like the parent. So we have to create the child inside. So it's going to be slash doc name, okay? Which is the document path name. And then here we have the upload tags. Then I'll now call the reference dot put file. So this is used to put file into the storage. So this put file now, you can now pass the doc path that you want to send, the full path, right? That you picked using image picker or file picker, whatsoever, all right? Then we have a tag snapshot. This is not really that important. Yeah, it's important because we need this tag snapshot in order to retrieve the download URL. So what happens here is I wait the upload tags. So when it's complete, I just printed out something, right? And then from here, I'm able to get the snapshot. So this will give me access to the download URL. So from the download URL, this is what we are now going to display in our UI. You can use cached network image provider, or you can use network image to display it. But I will suggest you use cached network image provider because it will help you cache those strings in your local storage or the user's local storage so that you don't have to keep making network requests anytime you want to upload it again. Maybe if there's no internet, it will just fetch from the cache and display it to users. That's very and it's definitely going to improve the UX, the experience of the application. All right. So here we're just getting the download URL. You say snapshot.reference.get download URL and it will retrieve it for us. So now let me give you guys a demonstration of how this whole logic works. So first thing, we have our UI. I'm going to click on this icon now to pick image. So I click on gallery. So from here, I can select any image that I want to upload. So let's say this one. And you can see now the busy overlay is showing the states. And you can see uploading document to server. You can see tags completed, and you can see the URL, which is the download URL coming from Firebase storage. You can see that with the token and every other thing. All right. So once you see that, you will see the example storage, which is the parent part, and the doc name, image picker, blah blah blah, to this .jpg. Okay, then you see the token. So that's pretty much it. And now you can see that it has been displayed because what happens here is after we fetched it, we check if it already contains if the file URL, because I'm returning it from here. Once we get it, I'm returning view state.sources file URL, then I return the download URL back to us. So once we get it, I'm adding it inside the images. Okay, so from the images, we have this list.generate that are just image.length, images, and all that. And you can see I'm using cached network image provider. And from here, we can now see that I'm displaying the image, right? I'm passing the image inside here, which is what we are seeing here currently. And inside, you can see a red icon. This is an icon to delete the image, right? I'm going to explain that one later on and why I use our unawaited. So if we go back here, let me refresh the screen. You're going to see that the example storage reference part is going to show up. All right, so we just finished loading now. You can see we have example storage, which is this one we just created. Example storage as the path. And so from here, okay, I'm looking at something. So from here, you can see that we have the example storage, and inside you can see the image file that we just uploaded. You can see the image, and this was the download URL that we just got. And from the download URL, we can now display it in our application. You can also upload multiple to see how it appears. Let's say we upload another image like this one. So give it some few seconds. You can see it's uploading document to server and task completed. And once it uploads, it will now render it for us. So right now you can see if we go back, we still have the example storage and we have another image created. Let me go back to, okay. Let me click on this. You can see now we have another image created. So in some cases, most persons don't delete this, right? You just, maybe if it no longer exists in your app, most people persons just, allow it to be like this. And this is taking up spaces, right? It's taking up spaces. Now currently is in KB. Multiple KBs add together is going to give you MB. Multiple MBs add together is going to give you GB, gigabytes and all that. That's how your storage gets, keeps increasing and all that, and you keep accumulating billing from Firebase. So to avoid that, what we can do now is to delete most of the images that we are not using, that all users wants to delete and all that. So I have a method for that already. So we have delete document from server. What we are only passing is the download URL that we got. Okay, so you don't need to bother about what is the path and all that. Just grab the download URL alone, and which is something we are already getting, right? We are already getting it because we are rendering it in this screen. So here, what I'm doing is I'm using unawaited because I don't want to await for this thing to complete. I want it to be running while we are performing other actions. So that's the reason why I'm using unawaited. It's more like a future. So not all features need to be awaited. So this these unawaited features, it enforces blah blah blah. Just if the feature completes with an error, it was likely a mistake to not await it. That error will still occur and will be considered on hand whether the same feature is awaited. Okay, so this is not something we are awaiting. So we don't want to bother. In your case, you might want to bother if it shows any error or not. That means you need to remove the await and rather just final results. You can say await like so, right? And then you need to check if, because I already handled all these things. If you go to the upload document, I have the try and catch exception to handle error and all that. So you might want to like handle if results dot maybe state is equal to view state dot error. You might want to show user an error, right? You don't have to remove it immediately. So show user as error. Let's do something like this. Show users error and then return. So they will have to like delete it again. But in my own case, I just use await, right? Because I don't want it to block any user kind of stuff. So just use awaited and it's going to handle it for us. So okay, so I just showed you another alternative in case you don't want to use unawaited. You must not do the same thing that I'm doing, right? You might just consider something else that is going to help your application to scale. All right. So with this now, what I'm doing, immediately I deleted it. I'm now checking if the image contains this image, like if the list images contains the image, which is the image that we're already rendering here. If it contains it, then what I'm doing is just to remove it from the list. Okay, so let me give you guys an explanation of what is going on inside this delete document from server. So basically, I'm checking first if the download URL is empty. If it's empty, I'm just returning I do something, right? I don't need to proceed with the execution. But if it's not empty, what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm creating a reference, which is Firebase storage.instance dot ref from URL. I know there are a lot of things that you can do with this instance ref. So with the ref from URL, we are going to pass the download URL and it's going to get to the reference, the path and everything. Okay. So once we do that, we can now do reference.delete. This is just the only 2 lines of code that you need in order to delete file based on URL from Firebase storage. And once you've done that, you can now carry out every other action and all that. Okay. So that's pretty much it. You delete from Firebase. Okay. So let me give you guys how it works. So from here now, I can now click on this delete. You can see currently we still have our 2 items, right? So let me go back one step. Okay, like this, we still have the 2 items. So I'm going to quickly click on delete, right? Deleting document from server. That's the only thing I did, right? So I did not really print out any other thing to show deleted. So once that has been done, it's going to remove it from the list immediately. So if we go back to our Firebase storage now, and if I refresh, you will notice that the file has been deleted, and that is going to reduce space for us. It's going to help us reduce space in our Firebase storage. So right now you can see we only have 1 item, which is this one. If I delete it now, you will notice that everything here now has been deleted. Even the parts, reference parts has also been deleted. Let me go back. Right? You can see the example storage, which is this one. Example storage has also been deleted, right? So we can go on and add more items. It doesn't matter. Just keep adding. When user wants to delete, you call the method to delete and it's going to delete it. When users wants to add, you call the method to add and it's going to add for us, just like that, right? And you'll be able to optimize your storage in database, in Firebase storage better, okay? Instead of you accumulating spaces, thereby increasing your payments and all that. So yeah, so this is pretty much what I wanted to show you guys, okay? So I knew it's going definitely going to help someone out there. So I decided to create the content and share with you guys so you can learn and make your app better and also reduce costs somehow. All right? See you guys in the next video.